ladies and gentlemen, I have returned to Alabama from my trip to Oxford, Mississippi, and watching head coach Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide take on the Rebels at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, earning a whopping 62-7 win to kick off Southeastern Conference play. You guys, on the other hand, are locked and loaded onto, in my own words, touchdown Alabama magazine Stephen Smith. Great week last week for the Tide. You go down to Oxford, first true road test for this team, first true road test for sophomore quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. On the road, offense played tremendous. Tua had the ball on point, offensive line really stepped up, receivers played well, running backs did their thing. Defensively, aside from giving up the 79-yard bomb from Jordan Ta'amu to DK Metcalf, defense was lights out, special teams did some good things, and when you can get Nick Saban to be utterly speechless and a presser, you know you've done your job. All Nick Saban could do was say how pleased he was with the team, how everybody checked off every single box, didn't have much to say. When you get Nick Saban to almost be utterly speechless, you have done your job as a program. Alabama getting the victory. Now, Crimson Tide's focus shifts to Texas A&M. Alabama taking on the Aggies, hosting the Aggies this weekend, September 22nd, this upcoming weekend. Bryant-Denny Stadium, 2:30 p.m. kickoff Central Time via CBS. But as we do on each edition of shows, I look at my most valuable players, my MVPs from the weekend, and I got 5 right here. And to start this off, Tua Tagovailoa, what a game he had. 11 of 15 passing against the Rebels, completed 73%. The second time this year, he's hit on at least 70% of his throws. The third time, he's connected on at least 60% of his passes. 11 of 15, 191 passing yards, had 2 touchdowns, a 79-yard bomb to Jeudy, another score to tight end Irv Smith Jr. In the rushing game, Tua very nifty with his footwork, 5 carries for 47 yards. Continues to just be dynamic on third down. Alabama converting 6 of 13 with Tua. Crimson Tide 6 of 7 in the red zone, 4 red zone touchdowns. Bama got off to a fast start, did not take his foot off the gas, kept its foot on Ole Miss's neck, broke the will of the Rebels, and it all started with Tua slinging the ball all across the field. There was one throw where if Devontae Smith places this ball in the lights, it could have been Tua's 3rd touchdown of the game, but there's a spot in Vaught-Hemingway where when the lights come on and it's night, you can't really see where you are in relation to the field and in relation to the ball being in the air. Devontae Smith, unfortunately, caught himself on that part of the field. Tua put a gorgeous pass in the air. Smitty just could not place the football there. But aside from that, Tua, strong game, embraced his mom after the game, completed 73%, near 200 yards. He's got 8 touchdown passes this season. Number 1, T-squared, Hawaiian punch, double T in the morning, outplaying Jordan Ta'amu in the battle of the throwing Samoans. So Tua at number 1. For number 2, I have to go with Alabama's offensive line. That entire group was lights out. The Big Uglies came to play against Ole Miss. And I remember on Wednesday, Nick Saban spoke to the media about how it had been a great week of practice for Alabama on last week. But I feel like of all the coaches on staff, Brent Key was doing the most sweating, offensive line coach. I have never seen this man yell. I have never seen this man be as intense as what he was last week. I mean, he stressed physicality, he stressed technique, he stressed it all. Because 2 weeks prior to the Ole Miss game, he had to deal with Alabama's offensive line's too soft, they're not physical enough, The big boys in the trenches aren't getting it done. They're getting blown off the ball. They're being fatigued. The physical conditioning's not there. Brent Key had to deal with all of that. He wasn't having none of that over the weekend. Put those guys to work, and those boys came to play. Alabama's offensive line blocked for 27 first downs, blocked for 519 yards of total offense, blocked for 3 rushing touchdowns as Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris, and Najee Harris each found the end zone, blocked for 4 passing touchdowns. Tua Tagovailoa had 2, Jalen Hurts had 2. Neither quarterback between Jalen and Tua was sacked in the ball game. A clean pocket was kept for both guys. This offensive line did work. Every single person on that front unit played their tail off. Executed, got to the second level, opened up holes in the run game, helped both quarterbacks have strong performances on the field. Gotta give Brent Key a lot of credit. He challenged that group this week, and that group stepped up. From Ross Pierschbaker to Lester Cotton to Alex Netherwood to Jedrick Wills, they all stepped up. The entire offensive line earning MVP honors from me. This week, you're playing against Kingsley Keke. You're playing up against Landis Durham, also Ataria Alaka at linebacker. So better competition rolls in this week under Jimbo Fisher. But Alabama's offensive line, number 2 MVP in my book. Moving on down to number 3, sticking with the offense. How about Jerry Jeudy? I mean, Alabama has gotten some great receivers from the Florida pipeline. Amari Cooper, fantastic. Calvin Ridley, fantastic. Chris Black was good. If he could have stayed healthy, would have been even better. Didn't even finish his career at Alabama, but 5-star prospect nonetheless. Jerry Jeudy, when it comes down to Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley, Jeudy could have a better career than both guys. There are even some people thinking Jeudy could have a better Alabama career than Julio Jones had. Now, I'm going to still be partial to Julio Jones because what he did as far as giving Alabama dominance in recruiting as well as his play on the field. But Jeudy, this young man, 3 catches, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Nick Saban refuses to separate Jeudy from Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. And he won't let the media do it. Because the media will come out and say, well, Coach, how has Jerry Jeudy separated himself? Or how has Devontae Smith separated himself? Or how has Ruggs and Waddle broken from the pack? And Nick will always say, we got 4 to 5 guys that are competitive, that run great routes, that catch the football, that we trust. But in this sense, Jeudy has started to separate himself from everybody else. There was a play in the game against Ole Miss to where he catches the ball, stops on a dime, does a dipsy-do juke move on a DB. I'm thinking he's going to score. They mark him out of bounds inside the goal line. But that play right there reminded me of 2011 where you had Trent Richardson shaking, baking, and making it to the end zone, just completely making Sinquest Golson look foolish on the 65-yard touchdown run there. So Jeudy did the exact same thing, just did not score on the play. 3 catches, $136, 2 touchdowns, 79-yard strike from Tua to where he caught it, took off, scored. He's got 6 touchdowns on the season. Jeudy only had 2 all of last year. He's gone from putting up cryptic tweets on Twitter wondering, should I have stayed in Miami, Florida? Should I just stayed at home? Should I have played defensive back? He has gone from making cryptic tweets on Twitter to having fun on the field, and because he's getting open, in the same way Lane Kiffin created success matchup-wise for Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley, Mike Locksley is doing the same thing with Jerry Jeudy. The combination of Locksley and Josh Gaddis, wide receivers coach, co-offensive coordinator, they're doing the same thing with Jeudy and stemming off his routes, creating little matchups to where they can put him on a guy to where they know we got this matchup, we got it available, it's our best guy against your best guy, we trust our guy to make the play. And Jerry Jeudy having a big time season this year thus far. He's the number 3 MVP from the ball game. Going out of the defense now for my 4th most valuable player. As much as I want to put Quinnen Williams here, and I really do, Q has become the breakout star. Everyone's talking about Raekwon Davis prior to the season, and for good reasons. The guy's 6'7", 316 pounds. He's a massive human being. But it's been Quinnen Williams at 6'4", 289, one of the smaller players in Alabama history under Nick Saban, or during Nick Saban's time at Alabama. One of the smallest players to line up at nose tackle. But Quinnen's quickness, Williams' quickness, his ability to affect the play, get in the backfield, blow things up, collapse the pocket, using his footwork has been outstanding. He came into the matchup second on the team in tackles behind Deontay Thompson. I believe he will stay at that spot. Williams led the team with 6 tackles in the win against Ole Miss. But the guy I'm putting down as my 4th most valuable player, everybody clap it up. Let's give a round of applause to Christian Miller. C. Mill, what a game he had. Everybody's been waiting on an outside linebacker to step up and take some control here, especially with Terrell Lewis gone, out right now, and Christopher Allen gone. People were trying to see between Anthony Jennings and Christian Miller who would rise, and on last week, it was Miller that answered the call. 5 tackles, finished second on the team, 5 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, that loss being of 11 yards. He had 2.5 sacks. He got to Jordan Ta'amu, affected him in the pocket. He played with his pants on fire the entire game. Really made up for the rough moment he had against Louisville in week 1, not doing much in week 2 against Arkansas State. Christian Miller came out against Ole Miss, guns blazing off the edge, getting to the quarterback. That's what you want to see. You're waiting on Anthony Jennings to join him now, but that's what you want to see from Christian Miller, the former 5-star from South Carolina. Play aggressively off the edge. He got the Jordan Ta'amu, got 2.5 of the team's 4 sacks. Ta'amu couldn't do anything in the pocket. Why? Number 47 was eating him alive upon the ball being snapped. Kudos to Christian Miller, 4th MVP. Last but not least, at number 5, I could have put Deontay Thompson here. I could have put Xavier McKinney here in the secondary. Both played well. Patrick Surtain played well. Nick Saban said a lot of good things about the freshman. This was a game that you knew he had to play in and kind of develop some camaraderie within this group. But the number 5 guy for me, how about Trevon Diggs? This young man has really stepped up. I remember in the offseason, a lot of people talked about, Trevon is all talk. When is he going to finally anchor down, bear down, and be about that business as a defensive back? Well, during the latter part of the offseason, I heard a couple of close sources I know that he had finally stopped talking and just started playing football. Started leading by example, making big plays in practice, having those plays in practice carry over to scrimmages. And now his play in practices and scrimmages have carried over into games. Here's a guy that, in the matchup over the weekend, DeMarcus Lodge has a step on him, has a couple of steps on him, and Jordan Ta'amu releases the football. Old Trevon Diggs will probably give it up on that play. Trevon gets beat, strongly recovers, gets back to the ball, uses his long arms to deflect the pass away from Lodge, which negates, saves a touchdown. DeMarcus Lodge makes this play. It's 14-7 Ole Miss, first quarter. Because of the heads-up play by Diggs, it stays at 7-7, and then the onslaught happens, as Alabama rips off a bevy of more points to Ole Miss just remaining at 7. So Trevon Diggs, only 1 tackle in the game, had 2 pass breakups. This Alabama secondary with Diggs limited DeMarcus Lodge to 1 catch for 7 yards. It limited the freakish athlete in A.J. Brown, who's going to be a top 10 pick, a first-round draft pick going to next year. You limit A.J. Brown, 4 catches for 34 yards. The only guy that had a big day somewhat was DK Metcalf. He brought in 2 to 3 receptions for 92 yards, and a chunk of that came on the first play of the game, the 79-yard bomb where he got past Savion Smith. You take away that, this Ole Miss receiving core that everybody speaks so highly of is non-existent against Alabama. Secondary came out, did a tremendous job. 2 interceptions, 1 taken back for a pick 6 by Xavier McKinney. Deontay Thompson had the other interception. And then Jordan Ta'amu, poor kid, came into the matchup averaging 69.2% completion rate, near 70, averaging 392 passing yards a game. Alabama secondary helped this kid to 7 of 22 completions, 32%, 133 yards, picked him off twice, forced a fumble, defense sacked him 4 times. Everybody came to play this week for the Crimson Tide. Running back through this again, Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback, number 1 MVP, continues to play lights out football, slinging the rock around the field. Number 2, the entire Alabama offensive line. Brent Key got these guys fired up, got these guys ready to play. They came out and answered the bell. Number 3, Jerry Jeudy. Nick Saban won't do it. I'll do it for him. He has separated himself from the pack. Jeudy making a real statement toward the Biletnikoff Award and making a real statement toward possibly breaking one of these career records that Amari Cooper is holding right now. Jeudy is number 3. Number 4, Christian Miller. Quentin Williams has been a breakout star, but C. Mill taking the MVP from over the weekend against Ole Miss. And at number 5, Trevon Diggs, going from talking the game to now walking the game. Congratulations to that young man. Taking our first break here on In My Own Words. When we get back, we dive into Texas A&M now. We break down the 5 players you have to study when you talk A&M Aggies as they come to Bryant-Denny to take on the Tide this week. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're just getting cranked up. We'll be right back.